I sat with the two owners, two guys that owned it, and
Yeah, right.
the lady who managed the.
The Abington Education Foundation's annual meeting. My name is Maureen McAlpine, and I'm the president of the AEF. Tonight we will present the school systems with over $19,000 in grants. None of this will be possible without the support we receive from the community and schools. I am honored to work with my fellow board members, Jim Coughlin, Kathy Riley, Steve Durenier, Jack Portello, Perry McGuire, John Hart, Marlene Stevens, Cindy Porter, you guys can go, Dave Kinneberg, and Becky Stutzman. I would like to thank each of them for their hard work and dedication in making the AEF a success. I would also like to thank Superintendent Peter Schaefer, Assistant Superintendents Felicia Pachala and Dr. Dickman Thomas. Working with them to help support the school system is a privilege. One person who deserves a special thanks is Teresa Minahan. Teresa is the cornerstone of the AEF, who is always there to support and guide new presidents. And for that, Teresa, I thank you. Additionally, I would like to welcome our new school committee representative, Jan Leary. I would like to thank Christy Coombs and the Coombs Foundation for their continued support. Abington Bank, who is a big supporter of the AEF. The Abington Ale House, and Bill Davis, our cameraman. A special thanks goes to the Coughlin family. Jim's father, Ed, recently passed away, and the family encouraged donations to be made to the AEF in Edward Coughlin's memory. Tonight you will hear grants dedicated to him. The AEF would also like to remember Mary Karen. Mary was a kind-hearted Abington resident who recently passed away. She enjoyed helping others and remembered in her estate the students of Abington with a donation to the AEF. This year, the grant process was changed to online with a new deadline. We hope that helped you. We want to stay with the school year. The board is also working on an evaluation form for the awarded grants. We would like to have feedback on the grants that we award. The form will be available soon, but the best feedback is the thank yous we receive from the students. And please enjoy the posters in the back of the room with notes from a few of the AEF grants from last year. The students did an unbelievable job. So, and I see everything else, so like I said, please help yourself. I'll go through the agenda. The committee's reports, the treasurer's report, we're going to discuss at our board meeting. And we're going to skip over recognizing outgoing members because no one will be an outgoing member. Only kidding. Jack Portello is going to be an outgoing member. We're very sad by this. Jack, thank you very much for all your years of dedication to the AEF, and we wish you the best in your retirement. And right now I'd like to ask the board to, we have a nomination of a new member, Joe Constantino. Try that one again, Constantino. He's unable to make it tonight. He's on a business trip. But Joe has 3 children. I know one is in the Frollo, and I think one Frollo, one high school. And he's requested to join the AEF. So if I can have nomination of Joe from the board members, would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to accept Joe as
someone to second the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Joe Constantino is a member of the AEF. interesting part of the night. We have recipients from last year's and this year's grants to speak. First, we'd like to invite Mimi Reynolds and Michelle Harris up to speak about the grants that they have received. And they've brought along some students.
Hi, I'm Amy Reynolds, and
I'm Michelle Harris.
And we've been doing Destination Imagination for quite a few years, since my son, who's now a junior in high school, was a kindergartner, and they've been doing it years before that. Kathy Peroni, who I don't know if you know her, was the one doing it when there were lots of teams. It was a wonderful time. Right now we've just had about 2 teams competing, but this upcoming year, with Michelle's help, we're hoping to bring it back to all the grades and have at least 4 teams competing at the next competition. So we start regionally, and we will compete at Whitman Hanson. It's they'll explain what it is, and then we go state, and then maybe even possibly national. And I have Paige Reynolds and Molly Greeno, who are 2 members of Destination Imagination, to explain the program.
Hi. Before we start, we just wanted to thank you all for your very generous grants to help DI.
DI, which stands for Destination Imagination, helps create life skills and lasting friendships.
In DI, we have to learn to work together and be prepared for whatever the judges throw at us, and it can be very out there sometimes.
Some of the DI challenges that we can choose from are improv and structure.
Improv, you know the title of it, and they give you the basic rules and regulations for it, but then you get all your choices and stuff when you get there, and it's really interesting because other DI challenges you can prepare for and you can have it, but there's always that element of surprise with improv. You don't know what the judges are going to throw at you.
For structure, you have to build a skit and a structure beforehand, and then you go to the regionals and you do the skit, and while members of your group are doing the skit, 2 other members are putting weights on top of your structure, and the longer it stands and the more weights you have on, the more points you get, and so with the more points they add on to your final score.
And DI, I can tell I've been doing DI for about 3 years, and it's been fun the whole time. Sometimes it can be a little stressful, like when they're like, okay, here's a banana, like, but other than that, you expect the craziest, and usually it's just a little crazier, so.
And it gives them the strength to come up and do this.
And the most interesting part, we want parents to get involved, is parents can't give any solutions. Parents have to stand back. As a coach, you can only talk in the broader sense. They have to come up with all their own answers, and sometimes it looks like it's going way off in very strange directions, and suddenly it all comes together. But they, as a team, have to solve the problem. The parents, as the coaches, can give no answers at all.
And then also at the competition, they give us at a certain time, we have an instant challenge where we just go into a room. We're not we have to expect whatever they give us. And so they give us a problem and we have to solve it right then and there. And we can't really do anything, we don't have any way of knowing what is going to be in that room.
Kind of like life. So we've been enjoying it, and we're really excited with the idea that it'll broaden, and as I said, we'll at least have 4 teams coming in to the next competition. Because it's an amazing experience. When we're in our one room, we're doing the rehearsals and practicing. You practice every week, at least once a week. It seems like it's going to be so far away. Then you go to the regional competition, and we do ours at Whitman Hanson, and there's teams from all over, Carver, where else?
Like,
Yeah,
oh, like,
Berkeley,
yeah, and then
Whitman Hanson.
they're from everywhere.
And then I have teams from Abington, then go to Worcester Polytech for the state competition. And years ago, a high school team went all the way down to Knoxville, Tennessee, and competed in the globals. And it's a very exciting event. And you care about your score, but not really. That's the minor part of it. It's the whole fun of being a part of something. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Very
We're
much.
planning on sending out flyers soon.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Hearing stories like that makes me, today, going around looking for raffles for the golf tournament less painful. This is what our money goes towards. Thank you very much. Next, we have Katrina Carr.
I first want to just thank the AEF for all of their hard work over the years. I was trying to count how many grants that I've received over the years, and it's 30 plus. And so the way I look at it is the AEF is kind of like my fairy godmother, minus the wand and the blingy dress.
We can make that happen.
Yeah. Each year I think about all the things that I would like to have for my students, that I would like for them to be able to do, and then I ask the AEF if we can do them. And I've been really, really fortunate, so I can't thank you all enough for your hard work for that. This year, one of the grants that I got, one of 3, was to take the 4th grade to the Patriots Hall of Fame. And it's an interactive experience where half of the time they spend going through the Hall of Fame, where they get to see all of the trophies, they get to see if they can jump as high as the Patriots players, they get to measure themselves up against cutouts of real Patriots players, so they do all of that. But then there is a math and science section that they go to that aligns with the Common Core, where my students this year are going to be measuring actual players' uniforms, and then they have to choose the boxes that they will be shipped out in. And so they're going to work as a team and try and, make that happen and figure it all out. So they'll be doing real work in a really fun environment, very exciting, and I'm thrilled that we got that. So I can't thank you enough.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Peter Serino. I'm very excited to hear about this grant.
Thank you very much. We were fortunate enough at the high school to be able to bring Chris Herron in to speak a couple weeks ago. The process of getting him here started, if you're not familiar with his story, he's from Fall River and was probably one of the 2 greatest basketball players to come out of Massachusetts alongside Patrick Ewing. He went on to play at Boston College, Fresno State, the Denver Nuggets, the Boston Celtics, but he also had a serious drug addiction problem. So ESPN recently released, as part of the 30 for 30 series, a documentary on his life and his struggle, and he's been clean and sober for 4 years, and he goes and speaks to everyone. He spoke to the Patriots yesterday, spoke to NFL teams all around the world, and after his documentary aired, a group of kids came into my room the next day and said, "We need to get Chris Herron to speak." And I thought, well, great, you and everyone else who was just on ESPN. And a couple kids realized, it was probably a little unrealistic and kind of faded, but a couple weeks later, they brought it up again, and I said, all right, I need to look into this. So I did, and I realized there was a pretty large price tag that came with it. And I was fortunate enough to go see him at another school district at Oliver Ames. And I was able to meet with him, and I realized we needed to make this happen. So I placed one phone call to someone involved in the AEF, and next thing I know, I have people calling me saying, whatever it costs, whatever it does, we'll take care of you. So it was really great. I got to see and experience firsthand what the members do and how much they just want to help. So we were able to bring Chris in, and it was 2 weeks ago. It was a bit of a struggle to get him here because all of his spring dates matched up with MCAS, and we came up with the idea, let's center around the start of school, and he loved the idea of pairing it with our Meet the Coaches night. But the day we needed to do it, he was scheduled to be in Washington, D.C. So he was able to rearrange his schedule. So we spoke to Abington High School in the morning, and he spoke in front of Congress in the afternoon. So he came up and he spoke, and we had the entire high school, about 550 kids. The 8th grade from the Frollo walked up despite some weather difficulties, and we had about 700 students and another 50 or 60 faculty members in the gym. And it was about 80 degrees with about 100% humidity in the gym. And Chris spoke for about an hour and 10 minutes about his story and took questions, and you could not hear a pin drop. That entire gymnasium was focused on him, regardless of where he was speaking and where he was, and he was telling his story, and the kids could not be more locked in that moment. I have never seen a speaker command the attention of 700 high school kids for over an hour in probably the most uncomfortable setting you could imagine. Kids walked out of there dripping sweat just from sitting there, but for that hour and 10 minutes, they were locked in and they heard his story, which was very powerful and moving. And at that time, I was like, that was good, that was great, he had their attention. But then walking back to class and the rest of the day, it's all the kids were talking about. That night, we had 4 students who volunteered to speak in front of all of the fall athletes and their parents in the cafeteria. Not a very ideal place to speak, but they wanted to share the message that they had, and they spoke and they shared it, and it was able to start conversations. Conversations that day, and up until today, I had a student finish the test and takes out a book, and it's a story of Chris Herron's life. I know Miss Flommer, who's here, her students had to blog about it, and she sent me some of the things. You had 30 kids who were writing about how they were affected and how they were moved. Chris's big thing when he speaks is he just wants to affect one kid. And judging by the kids' reactions, what they wrote on her blog, the conversations that have started, the feedback we've gotten from parents, I think it's safe to say that more than one kid heard his message. And it's clearly a message that this community needs to hear. And I can't say enough about the support of this organization for stepping up with a big price tag on a controversial issue and saying, make it happen, we'll take care of whatever the cost is. And I think the students of Abington and the community as a whole really benefited from that conversation taking place at the dinner tables, at the soccer fields, and so on. And hopefully, we never realized how big of an impact that it had, because the problem will hopefully start to subside here. And that wouldn't be possible without the efforts of the AEF. So on behalf of the students, thank you very much. I know high school kids aren't ones to write the cute thank you letters, but judging by what they have done in high school and what they have said, I can certainly say that they genuinely appreciate what you were able to do for them. So thank you.
Peter, thank you for taking the effort and organizing it and bringing it to our attention. So now we'll present the grants from this year. First, we'll have each member come up and speak about a few grants. First is Jim Coughlin.
Thank you, Maureen. To echo what Peter just said, Peter, through all the email correspondence, getting the check and so forth, he invited the entire AEF to come to the Herron's presentation. I was free to work for myself. I don't have much to do, so I was able to swing by. And what Peter just said, it's 10 times that intense in the gymnasium. It was a fabulous situation. And on Twitter, Chris Herron's on Twitter, and he had tweeted out, I think on his way to Congress, thanking the kids and the teachers from Abington for a great, experience. And I think it was 2 days later, if you click on Twitter, so I'm not real good at Twitter, but you click on something, 114 kids from Abington who were on Twitter retweeted Chris Herron's thank you. So obviously, not only the presentation, but they're also following Chris Herron on Twitter, hearing his message on a constant basis, and they thought enough of it to retweet it and so forth. So it was a very moving experience. But my grants, I get to handle some of the grants over at the Woodsdale School. I think it's still called Woodsdale, right? We have Time for Kids, which is the Time magazine for the 6th grade program. Again, a reoccurring entry into the AEF grant cycle. Again, it's the Time magazine for the kids, which gets scheduled out through the entire year, current events and all sorts of other items and so forth. So we're very happy to keep the kids abreast of all the current information going on in the world. The second grant is, again, for Christine Sullivan at the Woodsdale School, which is, again, the grade 6 teachers, which is the Having Fun with Pyramids and Pharaohs. Paulette Morin is a person who's been to Egypt many times and brings the dynamic approach to exploring the ancient Egyptian lifestyle with the kids with an interactive program. And again, this is a recurring item that the AEF committee feels is a great part, interacting with the curriculum over at the Woodsdale. And finally, Learning Buddies. Again, the Learning Buddies program used to be funded through the North School and the ECC BBS building down the street there. Pretty much it matches 6th graders up with kids from the younger grades. And at our committee meeting, the parents they just exude, excitement for this, because the 6th graders match up with the younger children, and those younger kids just idolize their 6th grade buddies. And to this day, they see them in the grocery store, they see them on the soccer field, and there's a connection there between, it helps both the 6th graders, taking a younger kid under their wing, and it also gives the younger kids someone to look up to throughout the school system and so forth. So we're again pleased to continue to support the Learning Buddies program. Thank you.
There are a few thank you cards about the Learning Buddies program from the 6th graders up on the board. Next is Kathy Riley. Hi, everybody. I have one, and that's an old favorite that we love to support, and I know at times the Queen's Center has supported this, or the Queen's Foundation has supported it, but it is the, and this year also, it's the Care Center at Woodsdale, and the Care Center is, my daughter just got on it, so she's really excited. But this one, this year, and I don't know, I was in here, we recently, just recently, were told about Mary Karen, who had donated money. So this grant is in memory of Miss Karen. And quickly, I think everyone's familiar with it, but they do a lot of work in one school year's time. The students are able to recognize the importance of becoming caretakers within their school and the community in which they learn and live. Ultimately, students will develop an awareness of the needs of others and will be able to see beyond their own needs. And they've done food drives and collected items to send to the troops in Afghanistan, over 1,000 items. Sponsored a Wear Red for Women's Health Day and sent a donation to the American Heart Association. They made Valentine placemats for residents at the local rehab nursing facilities, blankets and gift bags for neonatal intensive care unit at Social Hospital, and they planted flowers on the lawn. So we're happy to do that branch. Here's one that I think is relatively new in that I don't think we've seen something quite like this from the high school. It's the American History Field Trip to the JFK Library and Museum in Boston. What's unique about this, it combines the classroom with the actual experience of going to it, the museum. So Mrs. Palmer has proposed that in her ELA class, she studies the time in American history when JFK was shot. And so as they're learning that and reading books about it, they'll follow it up with going to the JFK Library and Museum and learning about it. So I like that combination. And the last one, again, something new and really different and creative from the high school. Andrea Clifford, English teacher at the high school. It's called Finding Your Voice and Forging Your Path. This was an interesting interdisciplinary approach between English language arts, specifically the public speaking program, and health classes. And they're inviting a woman named Christine Fortini-Bomer to address the students with an informational and motivational speech about her life, health and career choices, and followed by an actual demonstration and opportunity to participate in a Zumba fitness class. Interestingly, the background of Kristen's speech in public speaking, it helps them learn about talking about yourself and having a connection to what your subject is. The other interesting part of it is that, I read briefly the bio, Christine started life as an obese child, grew into a depressed and bullied teen, yet was accepted to UMass Amherst, earned a degree in marketing, and graduated with a 4.0 average. She enjoyed a thriving television career in New York City for several years. However, after the terrorist attacks of 9/11 and then being laid off, her life changed dramatically and she returned to Massachusetts, determined not to plunge into a depression. In her dynamic style, Christine describes how her simple, everyday choices about food, exercise, and lifestyle, combined with a drastic change of career, have led her to an enriching and fulfilling life. So that was a really different, unique, and definitely applicable to today's high school students. So those are the three graduates. Next we have Carrie McGuire.
Hey everyone, I have two grants to present today. The first one is for the Beaverbrook Elementary School. Doreen Erner wrote the grant on behalf of the second grade teachers. And they wanted to have the second graders view a production of the little engine that could, and then they're going to link that to some curriculum lessons such as completion of a graphic organizer, a writing project, and then character education. And we all thought that this was a great grant to support. And then I also have something from Frollo Middle School. It's in memory of Michael Caron, who is the son of Mary Caron. And it's a foreign language and art grant. And basically, the first week in March is International Foreign Languages Week in Massachusetts. So this grant will allow the school to rent a traveling art exhibit, which will be on display in the Frollo for 7th and 8th grade students to view and get a sense for the art. Those are my two grants.
Thank you. Next we have John Hart.
Good evening. My name is John Hart. I'm a retired middle school earth science teacher. When I was teaching in a much larger community, anytime you wanted to do a trip or get anything, it was always up to you to come up with, some way of doing it. So over the course of the years, I came up with a lot of them. I sold cheap jewelry, greeting cards, candy bars, wrapping paper, did faculty follow-ups. I came up with all these scams. But the bottom line was it was always a way to get things for the kids in the classroom. So the AEF, by providing these grants and things like that, I think is just a phenomenal kind of thing, and I know you agree with it. The first grant that I'd like to talk about is the purchase of jumbo hand magnifiers and big screen microscopes. I've done those when I was teaching in the middle school. To learn observational investigation skills for those items that are too small for the unaided eye. Kathleen Blumstein is the project leader, and the principals at all the schools are going to be involved in that. And personally, I can't wait to come in and look at it. The second grant is for the Beaverbrook School, Jacqueline Murphy with Doreen, Kathy, and Katrina. This is the main real science here, to maintain an outdoor science center that would include hands-on experiments that relate to a variety of science, social studies, and health curriculum goals. They want to create a pond, a garden, a compost, and weather observation areas. Phenomenal, real science going on here. And the third grant is the Social Skills Improvement System for Kindergarten and Preschool Children, Cindy Wilson and Nancy Clancy. And this is to, here we are, pro-social behaviors, motivation to learn reading skills and math skills. It's a great opportunity to learn what the kids really need or what they're up to. So congratulations to that, and I think it's tremendous. Thank you.
Next we have Cindy Porter.
Hello, I am presenting two grants tonight. The first is Life in 1627 Plymouth Colony. This was presented by Stephanie Clark, one of the third grade teachers at the Beaverbrook Elementary. And basically it's a museum teacher from the plantation comes into their classroom, and there'll be one museum teacher in each classroom, They are going to be dressed in the attire of the time period. They are going to speak with a dialect of that time, and they're going to tell their story from coming over on the Mayflower to the first winter to the first Thanksgiving. And they're going to bring over artifacts with them for the kids so the kids can see, and this ties into their curriculum that they're working on. And they also have some clothing that a couple of the children in each class can try on. So it just ties into what they're working with, and they're going to actually get to talk to the person and do like a question and answer. The second one that I have is the Center School Thanksgiving unit, so anyone who's had a kindergarten there knows how excited they are when Thanksgiving comes. This ties in with what they're learning about with Thanksgiving and family traditions and the history, and they're learning this through art and music and drama in kindergartens. So what this grant is to supply the supplies so that these kids can make their little pasta necklaces, and the Pilgrim lesson, they do a Mayflower and a Plymouth Rock project, and the Thanksgiving project they come home with is What I'm Thankful For. And it's age-related for them, and it's a really cute program. Thank you.
Next we have Dave Canterbury.
Hello. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Dave Kinneberg, and I'm a first-year member of the AEF. And so this is my first annual meeting, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm presenting 3 grants tonight. The first one is called the Word Right Challenge, and this is for the high school kids. And what the Word Right Challenge is, it gives the high school students an opportunity to demonstrate exceptional skill in reading complex text and compete against students across the country and around the world. Students prepare by studying word lists and academic vocabulary, and on the day of the challenge they are given a reading from poetry, fiction, nonfiction, or literary criticism, and 10 to 13 multiple choice questions of an analytical nature. Students compete individually and as a team of high scorers. The program gives students an incentive to achieve while preparing them for the MCAS, AP, and SAT test items. The second grant is called Word Up, and this is for the 4th grade kids at the Beaverbrook. And what the teachers wanted to do is they wanted to come up with a way to develop vocabulary and spelling skills. They wanted something that would involve all the kids, so what they decided to do was come up with Scrabble boards. And not only would this be used for recess, they'd also have monthly classroom challenges, so we thought that would be a great idea to get them for their spelling. My last grant is called Snap, Crackle, and Pop, and that's also for the 4th graders at the Beaverbrook. And what the science class is going to do this year is they're going to be studying electricity and magnetism. So what they wanted to do, they thought would be good, would be to get the Museum of Science. They have a traveling program, and they will come to the school, and it's like a hands-on program, and it would teach the kid the concepts of voltage, current, resistance, magnetism, and electricity. So it's kind of a hands-on program. We thought that would be a great program too. So that's it.
Next we have Becky Stutzman.
All right, I'm happy to present our next grant that will enhance Abington High School's International Week from the Music Department. This grant is for our students at the high school to enjoy a performance by Pendragon. Pendragon is music and a Celtic tradition. Pendragon's music celebrates the lives and generations of New Englanders who brought traditions from Ireland and Scotland. I'm pleased that the AEF can help support this grant and provide our students with a great cultural experience in music. This grant was written by Joyce Harrington. That's my first grant. My second grant is for the Central School Science Enrichment Program. This grant will provide our students in preschool and kindergarten with science enrichment to help enhance the curriculum about animals and animal habitats. Our young students will explore and investigate a variety of reptiles from Joe's Crazy Critters to help their growing curiosity and interest in the living world around them. So this grant was written by Dee Dee Clausen and Christine White. So those are my 2 grants.
Steve DeBrenier.
Hello everybody.
excited this year. For the first time in about 12 years, I only had one kid in Abington High School. Abington Schools, I'm sorry. At any rate, and the two grants I have are for the Woodsdale School of 5th grade, which is one place I have a kid now. First one is for social studies. This one was written by Kaylin Sampson, so for the Bay Colony educators. AEF has provided money for this one a few times, I think, and they've been coming for about 20 years. The Bay Colony educators offers students an opportunity to get an overview of a child's life in colonial America, specifically life in the 1750s in Abington. The program investigates child's life in the 1750s, describing clothing, education, toys, and games. They'll be exposed to information of many tasks, everyday chores that colonial children were expected to accomplish. And it also continued to discuss how the need for independence from England affected colonial families. So that's Bay Colony educators. And the other one was written by Laura Johnson, Top Secret Science. Top Secret Science, they'll have the 5th grade students would still learn about physical science through hands-on, inquiry-based methods. Students will each participate in a variety of hands-on experiments and create 3 or 4 take-home projects. There'll also be a presentation by Michael Bergen from Top Secret Science. The project will contribute to students' learning by instilling a very high level of enthusiasm and inquisitiveness about science and high technology. It'll excite children to learn by opening their minds and increasing their interest in further learning in the future. Science is a fascinating adventure and fantastic discoveries and imaginative investigations that affect us every day. There'll be some take-home projects that are very motivating to students. They all sound great. I really do appreciate the teachers, you guys doing these. We enjoy very much going through them. It's usually a long night. As we read them, we really do get into them and appreciate the work you guys do so that we can do this for you and our students.
Next we have Marlene Stevens.
Good evening. See, I have 2 grants. I have to put these on, or I won't be able to read them. Very fun. The first one is a grant that is for the Beaverbrook Elementary School. It was written by the principal, Marilyn Weber, and it's for an interactive whiteboard. Just about all of the classes at this point have interactive whiteboards, except for the 1st grade. They don't. And so we provided a grant to give one interactive whiteboard to the 1st grade class over at Beaverbrook. The other grant I have is an extremely detailed one and well written for the Frollo Middle School. This is a program called Champions with Destiny, which was piloted a little bit last year over there. And what it is it's a character education and character building program that they have. It's a program that was created by a Dr. Paul Taylor, and he started it in Africa to teach character and integrity to future leaders there. It's been adapted and it's made now for these schools. What they're going to do is they have, I believe, 3 programs that come out at different points in the year, and they'll do presentations. The character building that they use, they kind of try to teach them to be a champion. It's not just about sports. It's not just about winning this and winning that and winning the spelling bee. It's about really being a champion in life and having that character, the characters that you need to be successful in life. There's 2 things that they feel that to be a champion with destiny that you must possess. One is a belief that you can make a difference in the world. The other is the determination to pursue your goals, dreams, and ultimate destiny no matter what. So they're really trying to just build up the character in these middle school students. To be honest, it's probably something that we all could use. And those are my 2 grants.
Next we have Jack Coachella, his last time. Unless we can all talk him into staying.
Thank you, Maureen. I find it hard to believe that, after 10 years or so involvement with the AEF, this may be my last. For some reason, I don't think my retirement is going to be complete. Well, we do still have a golf tournament to go through, I think everybody has my cell phone number and email address anyway, so you know I'll always be around to assist and to offer any insights that I may be able to offer. As I said, it's been 10 years involvement for the AEF with me. We've gone through a lot of different events. We've had our golf tournament to raise funds. We've had our family game night, which started off as just a fun thing to do and has turned into a wonderful evening of fun and excitement for all of the students at Abington. We've had our failures. We tried a hypnotist one night and that didn't work out too well, but that's okay. We step it up and we move along because of what we're doing and how important it is to all of us. I'd like to thank the teachers and the staff across all of Abington schools for taking the time to write the grants and to submit the paperwork and to just even think of us, as to a way to accomplish what they need to accomplish. We all know what has been happening with the budget as of late, and to be able to continue to help and keep these programs coming to all of the students of Abington is a great thing, and it makes me feel wonderful to be able to do that and to see the thank you notes that come in. And to read not only from the second grader or the kindergartner who got to touch a frog or whatever it was that day, but to hear from the high school students who said, I really enjoyed going in to see Shakespeare because it made that whole book click for me. And it's really enlightening. I do have 3 grants to present this evening. The first grant is entitled Science is a Who. This grant was originally sent to us by Katrina Park. It caught our attention then. For those of you who don't know what it is, they dissect owl pellets and discover what's in there. What did they find? What did this owl eat? And it was just one of those far out, what did you girls say earlier? It's kind of crazy. And we said, this is great. This is something new. It's different and it's exciting. And what kid doesn't want to hang around and play with that? I've seen a lot of the photos from it, and it's wonderful to see how they pull everything apart. They go, hey, look, I think this is a femur from a shrew, and go and line it up against the chart. And it really gets them involved, and it gets them doing science. It gets them investigating something otherwise simple. And the grant this year is to continue with that involvement and to replenish the supplies that are used on a yearly basis. So I would like to thank Kristen Grady and Danielle Riley and Dr. Gilpatrick and Carla Brisson for taking the time to submit this grant for the 6th graders over at Woodsdale this year. Thank you. Our next 2 grants are rather special. I'd like to thank Jim Coughlin and his family. During their time of sorrow, they thought enough to say, hey, remember the AEF, and send a donation in. Our next 2 grants are in memory of Jim's dad, Ed. So thank you, Jim. Again, we know what has happened to the budget cuts over the year, and most of the music programs, especially in the younger grades, have been totally eliminated. The first grant was written by Catherine Clausen, and it's a musical enrichment program for the kindergarten, for center school. It brings back the Toe Jam Puppet Band. If you've had a child of that age who has seen it, they don't just sit there and listen to music being played. They don't just sit there and watch something being presented on stage. The students are encouraged to get up and to participate and to dance and to appreciate what music has and what it can do for you. It really it excites them. It gets them doing more than just sitting and listening day after day. So I'd like to thank Catherine for submitting this grant. The final grant of the evening, final grant? Okay, final, I just want to make sure that there's nothing out there left, was one that I was very excited by. It was presented by Brian Lanner up at the high school, History versus Hollywood. And what this project entails is the students will be watching historical films, not necessarily documentaries, but films that present different events throughout history. And the students will be observing, well, depending upon the director, what message did they present, and does it differ from what we read in the history books? And it encouraged them to see that people see things in different lights, and people perceive things differently throughout history, and not just what's out there. They'll be examining how the film is put together. They'll be examining the social cultures at the time, that if it's an older film that may be deemed inappropriate in today's day and age, in the 30s or 40s or 50s, when that film was first produced, that was totally acceptable. That's what society was about. The Help comes straight to mind. People would watch The Help today and say, oh, I can't believe they would do that to people. Well, back in the 60s, that's what life was like for those people. And I think it was a great program, really encouraging the students to look at things differently. And let's face it, what high school kid doesn't want to watch a movie at school? So I would like to thank everybody for the last 10 years. They've been wonderful. Again, I'm not sure how solid my retirement is going to be. Thank you very much.
That concludes the presentations of this year's grants. And I would like to invite Mr. Superintendent Peter Shaker.
As I sit and I listen year after year, I just I come back to a couple of things, and that one thing that we all have in common in this room, and it's very clear to me, and it's going to be stating the obvious, is that we all, in our own ways, are committed to making a positive difference in the lives of kids. I am surrounded by teachers who have are giving their professional life to that, and then doing extra work to make sure that that happens through a lot of different ways, one of which is through the Abington Education Foundation. Administrators who have done the same thing, and again, putting in the extra time to make a difference in the lives of kids. And then blessed that we have our Abington Education Foundation board members and then volunteers behind them who aren't in this room, just like there are teachers in the Abington Public Schools who aren't in this room, who are doing the extra, writing the grants, seeing them through, bringing these programs in. It goes without saying from everything that we've heard tonight that these are important programs to our kids. And they wouldn't happen without the Abington Education Foundation bringing them in. So this side job or your second job that you have as AEF members, I just want to thank you on behalf of the kids in Abington. I was at a meeting of superintendents at the end of last school year, and we were talking about education foundations in the South Shore. And of the 20 or so districts that were in the room, half of them have education foundations, and of those half are high functioning. So if you think about that, that means only 25% of the communities really have high functioning foundations. And I was very proud to be able to describe how ours is such a high functioning group in Abington. And when you went around the room and asked the superintendents what made them high functioning, they talked about the bylaws and the structure and how the grants are formatted. And it really came down to one essential element. It's the people that are involved in the program, and it's the way that they've committed themselves to making a positive difference in the lives of kids. And so I'm going to go back to what I started with. We are, all of us in this room, teachers, administrators, or board members or volunteers, people who are committed to making a positive difference in the lives of kids. And two people that I just need to recognize specifically and thank. One is our outgoing president, Jack Porcello. Because Jack has followed a long line of former presidents who have carried the Abington Education Foundation through the years, through the good times and the bad. Well, maybe not the good times, but the times that were better than this, and the bad times, to do the wonderful things for the children of Abington that we want to do. And our incoming president, I shouldn't say incoming because you've been here for a year, and you've already demonstrated through your leadership what a wonderful job you do as the president of the foundation. So I also want to thank you. Good morning.
Well, that about ends our annual meeting. In closing, I do have to plug a few fundraisers. I can't help it. It's in my blood. We have our golf tournament this Monday. It's at Riverbend in Bridgewater, and then lunch at the Charlie House afterwards. And
Still
then
have some openings for foursomes.
we have openings for foursomes, and I'm always in need of raffles. And then we have our night before the feast, which is going to be the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. And it's going to be down at Memorial Field, and we're going to have a punt, pass, and kick for the students. And we're going to have a turkey toss for the adults. Everyone over 18 can come. And maybe I'll get a donation. Mrs. Christine Sullivan was nice enough last year to donate 2 frozen turkeys, but unfortunately it rained that day. And then we're still going to continue with our classroom feud for the 5th grades, focusing on the 5th graders again, and that will be in March. Off the top of my head, it's March 15th. But up at the Frollo, we'll stick with the classroom feud. It was last year. We felt that was a success. And I think that's it. So I want to thank everybody for coming and enjoy the food and the rest of the evening.